The Lost Clown.
Once upon a time, in a happy and cheerful circus, there lived a clown smiling among the colorful balloons. The clown's name was Pip the Clown, and his favorite thing was the smiles on children's faces. Every day, Pip the Clown would joke with his big red nose, spin hula hoops, and entertain the audience with clownish jokes, making them burst into laughter. But one day, a big storm shook the circus tent. With the power of the wind, Pip's clown costume flew away and disappeared in an instant. Pip was left outside the tent, sad and lonely. Unfortunately, Pip's clown costume was lost in the sky. Pip explained the situation to his friends, but they couldn't find the costume. Pip's smile faded away. But then, at that moment, a group of tiny mice found Pip's costume. The leader of the mice decided to bring the costume to Pip. With the help of the mouse, Pip's costume was brought back, and the circus was filled with joy once again. Pip thanked the tiny mice with gratitude and invited them to the circus shows. Now, it was impossible for Pip to be lost because he knew that his real friends would never leave him alone.
Now, here are 5 questions and answers related to this story.
Who is the main character of the story? The main character of the story is Pip the Clown. What is Pip's favorite thing? Pip's favorite thing is the smiles on children's faces. When did Pip's clown costume get lost? Pip's clown costume got lost during a big storm. Who found Pip's costume? A group of tiny mice found Pip's costume. Who helped bring Pip's costume back? The leader of the mice and the other mice helped bring Pip's costume back.
The Friendly Cat.
Once upon a time, in a small town, there was a cat named Whiskers. Whiskers was a friendly cat with soft fur and big green eyes. He lived in a cozy little house with his kind owner, Mrs. Smith. Every day, Whiskers would wake up early and stretch in the warm sunlight streaming through the window. Then, he would meow softly, asking Mrs. Smith for his breakfast. After a hearty meal, Whiskers would spend the day exploring the neighborhood and making friends with the other animals. One day, while Whiskers was out on his adventures, he heard a faint meowing coming from behind a bush. Curious, he approached slowly and discovered a tiny kitten, shivering and alone. The kitten's name was Mittens, and she had lost her way home. Without hesitation, Whiskers scooped Mittens up in his gentle mouth and carried her back to Mrs. Smith's house. Mrs. Smith welcomed Mittens with open arms and gave her a cozy bed to sleep in. From that day on, Mittens became a part of their little family. Whiskers and Mittens became the best of friends, playing together in the garden and curling up by the fireplace on cold nights. They were inseparable, and their friendship brought joy to everyone in the neighborhood. And so, Whiskers and Mittens lived happily ever after, proving that kindness and friendship can brighten even the darkest of days. Now, here are 5 questions and answers related to this story. What is the name of the main character in the story? The main character in the story is Whiskers. What does Whiskers ask for every morning? Whiskers asks Mrs. Smith for his breakfast every morning. What does Whiskers find While exploring the neighborhood, Whiskers finds a tiny kitten named Mittens. Who is Mittens, and what happens to her? Mittens is a lost kitten whom Whiskers finds and brings home to Mrs. Smith's house. Mittens then becomes a part of their family. The story teaches the lesson that kindness and friendship can brighten even the darkest of days.